Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and there's a bunch of new sheriffs in town, and they ain't playing any games. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, please visit that address in the lower right-hand corner. It's youtube.com/@ExplainAmerica. When you get there, please hit subscribe, absolutely free. It really helps us out. Guys, the Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, when that comes to town in January, a lot of massive changes are going to happen for the deep state. A lot of massive changes are going to happen for the people that have been living off and siphoning off the taxpayers and the government for decades. The party's over. Your tax dollars being spent frivolously, that's over. And Vivek Ramaswamy, well, he had a particular warning, shall we say, for those government agencies. And what was that warning? Well, a lot of three-letter agencies are going to be straight deleted, just wiped out, completely eliminated. And I personally would start with the ridiculous Department of Education that has done more to harm education than any other department could ever dream of doing. Our education scores have plummeted since the invention of the Department of Education. And all it's been, as far as I'm concerned, is a place for unions and people in government to siphon off money for their own pockets. Not a place to help the children. They don't care about the children, in my opinion. Gotta say, in my opinion. I want you to listen to what Mr. Ramaswamy says here. And then let me know what you think in the comments.
Sure. What are you looking to cut right from the beginning?
So first is we want to go right in through executive action to do the failures of the executive branch that need to be addressed. Because the dirty little secret right now, Maria, is the people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones who actually run the government. It's the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state. That was created through executive action. It's going to be fixed through executive action. Think about the Supreme Court's environment over the last several years. They've held that many of those regulations are unconstitutional at a large scale. Rescind those regulations, pull those regs back, and then that gives us the industrial logic to then downsize the size of that administrative state. And the beauty of all of this is that can be achieved just through executive action without Congress. Score some early wins, and then you look at those bigger portions of the federal budget that need to be addressed one by one. So I think that's one way to think about this is how can the President of the United States, who's been elected with a historic mandate, actually do the thing that the voters have voted for. They haven't voted for incremental change here this time, Maria. We have voted for sweeping change, and the voters actually deserve to get it. And we're focused on how to do that as early and as quickly as possible.
So President-elect Trump just said on that soundbite that you're going to make recommendations. So you're going to make recommendations in terms of where to cut after all that you've just said. Then what?
Look, we're not going to be cutting ribbons. We're going to be cutting costs. And so those recommendations are going to be on a real-time basis. But I do want to take a big step back and understand, for people to understand the scope of this problem. Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place. The Pentagon has just failed its 7th consecutive audit, nearly $1 trillion of budget. They can't even tell you where it goes. So I think part of this is exposing for the public the extent of that rot and waste, but then to take steps first through executive action and then laying the groundwork for broader change through legislation as well to rein in that deficit, to rein in that budget. And more crucially, Maria, I know we're talking about this in terms of efficiency, but there's something deeper going on here. This is about restoring self-governance and accountability in America as well. Elected leaders, if they make the wrong decisions, voters have a great choice. You can vote them out and remove them. Most of the people making these decisions, from healthcare to the Department of Defense, are failing on effectiveness because they have no accountability. Historically, it's been the view of many scholars to say that those people could not even be fired. Now we take a different view with the environment the Supreme Court has given us in recent years, and we're going to use that in a pretty extensive way, Maria, to move quickly.
You're going to have pushback, not just from the left. You may have pushback from those very people who are running those departments, running those agencies. They want as many people as they want in there. You're going to want to fire people. Yeah. So how are you going to deal with that? You're also perhaps looking at pushback from Congress. How are you going to deal with Congress? How are you going to deal with having Congress need to change the law?
Well, look, the beauty of this is I think we have a lot of allies in Congress who have their heart in the right place. But what we've learned is over the last 40 years, even conservatives, we've talked a big game for 40 years about cutting the federal government, about reducing the scope of the federal government. Politicians haven't been able to do it. And so Elon and I, we're not politicians. We're businessmen. We're coming at it from the outside. Sometimes if you go inside, you become native to the system. So President Trump, I applaud him for his creativity and his open-mindedness to setting this up for success in a way that hasn't happened before. But I come back to the principle. In the early months, score quick wins through executive action, show what can be done then, and then I think we will lay the groundwork for Congress to have to take meaningful steps in budget reductions for the future. A lot of these discussions